for Esquimalt Railroads.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, 2014 was a very dark year for British Columbians. Domestic violence cases were at the highest levels in half a decade. There were 20 murders as a result of domestic violence last year, with an additional 11 women who were seriously injured. Unfortunately, indications are that this year will be just as alarming. Julie Cox was murdered in Saanich 2 weeks ago. And just 4 days ago, on Mother's Day, 23-year-old Katie Kwa, the mother of young children, was murdered in Surrey. Her estranged husband has been charged. Honourable Speaker, it's very clear that the violence-free BC slogan of the BC Liberals is an utter failure. So my question is to the Premier. Why haven't BC's domestic violence units been effective at stopping these horrific incidents?
Madam Attorney.
Madam Speaker, having a safe British Columbia is important to everybody in this province. Having a violence-free British Columbia is important to everybody. It's important to everybody in this House, it's important to everybody in this province, and it is important to this government. That's why, Madam Speaker, the Premier has been leading the Violence-Free British Columbia Initiative, which is part of Justice. It's a cross-government initiative, Madam Speaker, because all of us need to put our shoulder to the wheel to make sure that we have a violence-free British Columbia. Madam Speaker, where there are numerous pieces to this, and as I said, it's a cross-government initiative. We need to have a safe British Columbia for families. That is why, Madam Speaker, we have domestic violence units in a number of police departments in British Columbia. We have the integrated case assessment teams across British Columbia. That's why we have given out $5 million recently in civil forfeiture grants, project grants rather, to groups around British Columbia for safety in communities all around British Columbia. Madam Speaker, it is a priority for government. It is a priority for all of us that families be safe, that people be safe in British Columbia, that we work towards having a violence-free BC.
Member for Esquimalt Railroads on a supplemental.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Well, there are some very clear clues as to why the domestic violence units have not been able to halt this horrific wave of domestic violence in British Columbia. Domestic violence units in Kelowna, Surrey and Nanaimo have no stable funding. It is merely year to year. They depend on the whims of this government for more funding.
Continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Worse, in several communities, these so-called units are only staffed by a single full-time officer. It's hardly a unit, Madam Speaker. Abbotsford and New Westminster have only a half-time officer for their domestic violence unit. With stats as high as they are, half an officer is simply not good enough, and it certainly is not a unit. When's the minister going to get serious, and when's the Premier going to get serious about domestic violence in BC and actually create full-time units that are funded with stable funding to help halt domestic violence in this province?
Madam Attorney.
Madam Speaker, domestic violence units are an extraordinarily important tool in the toolbox of keeping families safe, of keeping communities safe. We have domestic violence units in Surrey, Kelowna, Vancouver, New Westminster, Abbotsford, here in Victoria, and in Nanaimo. And these are our police units, Madam Speaker, where there are community workers embedded with the police unit, and they go out and they deal with serious domestic violence cases. They help families, Madam Speaker. They help families in crisis. There is a very strong commitment to those units in government, Madam Speaker. At the same time, Madam Speaker, where the community is not big enough for the domestic violence units, we have the integrated case management teams. They too are a group of service providers, including police, Crown, and service providers in communities all around British Columbia who take on serious cases in their communities to help as well make their communities safer. Madam Speaker, this is a very significant commitment by government, by police, by community service organizations to keep British Columbia safe.